Welcome to the Forever Free Space podcast. I'm your host, Joyce Van Setters.
I am Pete Moriello.
And together we created this space for aspiring and current entrepreneurs to get as much information as possible from thought leaders in their industry. Today we have one of those thought leaders with us, Livingston's food czar, Heidi Blum.
I've never been called a thought leader, by the way. That's a whole other level.
You are a thought leader to me.
Wow.
Now, Heidi and I have known each other for over 20 years, right?
Yep.
Oh my God. I don't even want to do the counting. So we got some stuff to get into.
Some catching up to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But first I want to know, how's the family?
Family's great. Yeah. Everybody's, thriving and growing and doing exactly what they should be doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. So Heidi,
Joyce.
For those of you who don't know you, where are you from?
Livingston, New Jersey. Born and bred. And I'm still there today. I left for a little bit.
You did?
I left for a little bit, yeah. But I'm still in Livingston.
You know, that's like a thing with me because I'm a military brat. So I've lived everywhere. So when someone tells me they still live in the same place they were born, I'm like, how is that possible?
It's weird in Livingston.
Yeah.
There are so many of us who went to high school together.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you're in the supermarket and you're like, my math teacher was my son's golf coach.
Stop.
Oh,
and
wow,
I said to my son,
insane.
I said, do not tell Mr. Wadden I'm your mom. I'm like, I got caught cheating in math. It's very weird.
Wow, that's
but there's something really nice about it too. Yeah.
Yeah, that is
cool.
nice.
Now, the Heidi I know is just a bred entrepreneur, but I want to know how you got started. So I want to know about young Heidi.
So it's interesting that you call me an entrepreneur because I never thought of myself that way, but I guess.
Really?
Yeah.
As long as I've known you, you've always had your own business.
Yeah, I guess so. I know. I just never. I know. I guess I never thought of myself that way. So It's interesting.
You're an entrepreneur and you're a thought leader, Heidi.
Thank you. I mean, I'm like walking out of here today, like walking tall. So young Heidi, like we're talking like.
How's Heidi's childhood?
I mean, we need more time for that.
You know you cheated on math test.
That's just up here. There's a lot underneath that. But my childhood was interesting. I unfortunately lost my dad when I was 11, which a lot of people are like, oh my God, that's so sad, which it is the saddest thing. But to this day, I use it for good, not evil. And I teach my kids the same thing. I've always chosen to be the victor, not the victim. That's what I always tell them, never be the victim. And it really made me who I am. My mom was 42 with 3 kids. I was the youngest of 3. She was not around a lot after my dad passed away, trying to find her own life. 42 years old, 3 kids, 1 was in college. So it really made me be independent and sort of find my own voice and become my own person. And that's sort of around the age when I really got into my social life and really became outgoing and also became very heavy and fat. So I was the fat, funny girl. And, but I, it just really made me sort of grow up in a way and sort of figure out who I am, what people liked about me, what they didn't, navigate through that, because I didn't want to be the kid whose father passed away at a young age.
Yeah.
Right.
I was heavy. So I was also I had sort of 2 strikes against me in my mind. So I had to really navigate socially to become somebody that people wanted to be with and wanted to, and trust and hang out with and came to me for advice and stuff like that. So I guess not that I was confident, but I slowly became a big extrovert at that time.
Do you think you use that as like a defense mechanism?
I probably did. Looking back, a lot of people ask me, I think, which we'll get into, like where I am now in my life, but, I do these videos, which we'll get into, but as you know, and my friends who have known me for a long time, I am consistently myself. And it takes, I'm now 55 years old. It takes a long time to get that and be confident in saying that. Like, I am who I am. And, I can go through my life and there's certain turning points and paths where you think maybe I should not be who I am.
Right.
And so, I think part of it was a defense I think it started as a defense mechanism. Mm-hmm. I think as kids, we have a lot of them because you're so insecure and vulnerable in a way too. Mm-hmm. But Yeah, I mean, it's. I think every challenge and obstacle that I've had in my life has made me where I am now, and this is probably the calmest, most relaxed I've ever been in my life. Though I am a person who does have anxiety, which people wouldn't think of myself, but I do.
Yeah,
So
I actually would think differently.
that I
That
would
you
not
would.
have.
That
That
you
I
would.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, but I'm a lot calmer than I've been in my life. So I guess it all, everything. You just got to trust the journey, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
And where did you go to college?
I went to University of Hartford,
Oh,
the
Connecticut.
College of Basic Studies, which was like extended high school for
Yeah.
2 years. I got my associate's degree, and
Yeah.
then go Hawks!
Right.
And there were a lot of us there. It was great. It was so much fun.
bet.
It's a smaller school,
Mhm.
and a lot of people from Livingston at that time went. So it
Oh,
was
really?
like, oh yeah. So it was
You
like,
just continue the party.
I walked around with like pitchers of beer on my own. I mean, talk about being. I mean, I was like. A basement, no surprise there. Timberlands, baseball hat backwards. I had a
Oh my God.
mullet.
Heidi.
Yeah.
I
Oh
love you.
yeah. It was
That's so
awesome.
fun.
It was great. And then I majored in communications with an emphasis on TV production.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
did not know that about you.
Yeah, they made you, pick a major, and you're
Yeah.
sort of like, I don't know what I want to do with my life,
Yeah.
right? I mean, who does? And I looked at the list, and I was like, TV production. I mean, I like TV.
Right.
I like to watch TV. I probably
Right.
could be good at that, and that's what I did.
Nice.
But it was great. They had a great TV studio back then.
Mhm.
And it was, I think, the right path for me.
And what did you end up doing with that?
So when I graduated, I interned at MTV for a couple
You
of
did?
times. Yeah. But I was in the library,
Yeah.
And then I was just telling the story recently. I worked on like one of their pilots when they were starting to do like sitcoms. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, I'm going to be like on like Yo MTV Raps or like, like Remote Control. Like I
Yeah.
love
Oh,
those
yeah.
shows. So I was
Yeah.
like, this is
Yeah.
the best thing ever. And then I was on the worst show. I forget. It was called, I think, like Pirate TV. I don't even think you can look it up. And
Oh
I
my
was
God.
on the pilot. Like I worked as an intern on the pilot, and it got canceled like before the pilot even
Oh,
came
wow.
out. I was like, oh my God. So I thought I was like, had it made. I was
Yeah.
like, I work for MTV. Of course,
Yeah.
everyone's going to want to hire me. It took me forever to find a job. It was, the unemployment market was terrible then.
Yeah.
And for women, I think especially, they made us go to unemployment agencies. Not made us. That's
Yeah.
like what you had to do. There was no internet. There was no LinkedIn. There's
Right.
no,
Right.
and you had to do typing tests. Typing tests. I was like Fat Finger Charlie. I was like, I was like, you can't. That's not what you don't learn to type fast. But was a requirement to go then send you out.
Yeah.
So I got a lucky break. I guess it's lucky. My cousin worked for Canon, like copiers and cameras and stuff like that. And he worked with a small production company that did their like corporate videos. And I got a job there making zero money. It was the hardest job. They drove you into the ground. And it was a great experience because it really taught me how to be in production.
Right.
Right? You have to be anal. You have to be on your game. You have to like really know
Yeah.
your stuff. And then I was miserable there. But like I said, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And then I got a job at a PR agency in the city through
Oh, okay.
Amy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
She got to find my best friend from high
Okay.
school. Who was also Joyce's client.
Yes.
Okay.
Got a finder's fee for bringing me there. Never shared a dime with me. That's what we always say.
Oh,
But
so-
I worked in their video department, and then that's where I really spent like my real life career for. I think I was there for 14 years,
Wow.
and
Okay.
it was awesome. I loved it. I traveled everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It was great, and then I had my first son,
Mm-hmm.
Matthew, and I really couldn't balance. I lived in New Jersey then, so I couldn't really balance. It was hard, young kid.
Trying to go back.
Trying
Bouncing
to go back and forth.
and
I was
forth,
getting
yeah.
I was getting divorced,
Yeah.
So it was like, so I left there, and then I started. Do you want me to like keep going down the path?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. And then I started doing because I had video production skills like
Mhm.
editing and stuff and producing. I had my own montage business, Heidi Blum Productions.
Entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. I guess that's where it comes in. So I had my own montage business, and I was the montage queen in, I don't want to say New Jersey, but like in my area.
In
And I
your
did
area,
all the bat and bar mitzvah montages, all the elementary schools, weddings, anniversaries, engagements, bridal showers. I did it all.
Wow.
And it was,
And you were a one-man team?
I was a one-man team. I scanned in the pictures. I did all the editing. It was a lot.
Wow.
And I loved it. I was really talented at it.
Yeah, you were good at it.
I was
saw some
good
of
at
your
creating a story with pictures and music.
Yeah.
And so I always loved that element of it. But then it just became, I did it for about 8 years, and it became stressful because it's a deadline oriented business.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you'd be like, I really need to back then it was like, I guess burn it to a DVD.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was DVDs. So I'd have to burn it to a DVD for like the DJ to test it. But then I'd be like, my client would be like, wait, I just need to make sure I don't need a picture of Aunt Sally. And I was like,
Oh
oh
my
my God.
God.
Or let
Sorry,
me just
Sally.
make sure. Yeah, sorry, Sally.
You're out.
Yeah.
That's what I would sit there and be
Didn't
like,
make the cut.
I think Aunt Sally's in there.
Yeah.
Like, you're fine.
Yeah.
Or they'd have to like pick a song or they'd change a song.
That's
and I was like,
overthinking everything.
and I
yeah.
was like, you know what? I did it. I did a great job. I was so proud of myself because now I had 2 more kids and I
Mhm.
was like balancing all that.
Right.
And I was like, it's just adding a lot of stress to my life. So
Mhm.
I stopped that business. And then from a lot of people's advice, suggestion, whatever, you being one of them, Joyce, is I became a personal trainer. And
I forgot all about that.
Forgot about that. How
Oh my
could you
God,
forget
'cause
about that?
I just skipped from you doing that to
where I am
where you-
now.
yeah, I don't know. why
No.
I forgot about that.
That's actually my
course you
real
became a
job. Nobody
trainer.
even knows that. Yeah, of course
Yeah.
I became a trainer. Well, so a lot of people, I was always into fitness. I wasn't fat anymore, thanks to Joyce.
Yeah.
No.
No,
But,
you weren't fat when I met
no,
you. You
I
were
was not.
you were super strong.
Yeah, thank you. And I was always athletic.
Yeah.
And when I say fat, I don't want to say fat.
I know what you mean.
I'm that's self-deprecating, which I do for my own humor.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Fat Amy.
yeah,
I get it.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was Fat Monica
Yeah.
from Friends.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
exactly who I was.
Okay.
So,
No, I
So
get it. You
funny.
call yourself fat so other people don't.
Yeah.
yeah, but also, it is part of my story and why
Yeah.
I became a trainer and why I'm so into fitness and
Yeah.
all of that. But, and I was always athletic. So
Yeah.
no matter what, I was always the cleanup hitter in softball.
Yeah.
Always. Like, always. I was always the anchor in tug of war at camp. I was walking that
course you
rope
were.
backwards with people flying off. I mean, I was like, this is nothing.
Yeah.
I can move a mountain if I had to. But, the thing about becoming a personal trainer, and you guys know this, is I did it through ACE,
Right.
Mhm.
right? And it was 150. I don't know
do
how it's
remember
now.
this now.
It's
I do
a
remember this.
150 multiple choice question
Yeah.
test. And like I said, I cheated in math. I went to University of Hartford of Basic Studies. Test taking was not in my
Your
wheelhouse.
thing, yeah.
Right. So imagine doing
And
it
you
as
can't
a,
cheat on those tests.
Yeah.
No,
that
there's a
sucks. I took
proctor.
the NASM.
right.
I was like,
Yeah.
Which
shit,
is
I wish,
which I
wish,
think is even
I wish
could
I
be
had
harder.
the
It's
answers.
harder.
I wish I had the
Yeah.
answers
Right?
in like my palm or something.
It's and I did it as an adult, when you're not like your brain is not like
Yeah.
test.
Exactly.
I actually failed the NASM. Did I ever tell you that?
Did you?
No.
Yeah, because we were working at New York Sports Club, and I took it on a Saturday at 7:00, and we went out Friday night, and I was hungover taking the NASM. I was like,
Oh my God, you're
You're
like,
like,
I don't know.
whatever.
Yeah.
I think I passed it, and I left. I got like a 58.
So I studied. I went to the library at my high school where I went. I don't think I'd ever been in the library. And I'm in the library, and
Yeah.
I'm like, you're sitting there like as if you're like in high school. I'm like
Yeah.
looking around. I have no attention span, but not like you. When I took my test, I remember the proctor. It was at a testing center.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the proctor, I was like sweating. I mean, I was the only person there. And I was like, oh my God. And she rings up. She goes, wow, we've never had that score before. And I was like, and I passed. She's like, it was so high.
Wow.
Oh,
Heidi.
wow.
So I hugged
awesome.
her. I don't know. So
Yeah, I
Some
don't
woman-
think I knew
I
the
looked up
story.
to-
I just
yeah.
think that once you and I stopped training, I do remember you becoming a trainer. I remember saying you were going to do it,
Yeah.
and you being like, "Go do it. You're
Yeah.
fucking good."
well, you trained out of my garage.
yeah, duh.
Yeah. Now it makes sense.
It's all coming back.
Yeah. So I became a personal trainer, which is, was great. I was training out of a corporate gym in the area at
and,
first.
and weren't you training in my space too?
Oh
once?
yeah, at that
My
studio,
studio,
gym where I used to
in Roseland.
Yes, where I used
Yeah.
to train, where you used to train me.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that corporate? You used
In
to work at that
Rose-
corporate
yeah.
place, and
Yeah.
you used
It
to train.
was
You used to train there too. I remember that.
So I
yeah,
used to
I trained her
train-
there, and then she.
Joyce
trained people
bounced
there.
around after New York
Ah,
Sports to a
yeah,
couple
yeah.
different facilities, so I would follow her wherever she went, and this was one of the places,
My
of
baby.
course, yeah. And this was one of the places. So when I first started, that's where I was training people,
Oh, okay.
and then I ended up turning slowly. Like some clients just couldn't get there, so they were like, "Can I just come to your house?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "I have 10-pound weights,
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
And then it just started building up from there, and being a personal trainer, as you guys know, was the best, especially when you're raising your kids.
Yeah.
and
Make
you
your own
really
hours.
make your own hours, make your own schedule, take people, don't take people.
Right.
You know, it really had allowed me tremendous flexibility.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so that was great. And now,
how long were you a trainer?
well, I still am. So
Okay.
I got certified in 2012.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're just renewed again.
You're still doing it out of your garage?
Still doing it in my garage now, and now I don't really take as many clients. Like back then, you know, when you're a first time, you know,
Yeah.
when you're first
Yeah,
training,
you're like, gimme.
I was like, you know, and I was the hot new trainer.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, Heidi's a trainer. I'm going to Heidi, and
Yeah.
I was getting, I mean, gobs, and it was like
Yeah.
overwhelming. And then you know, then they wanted me to train their kids. So after school, I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But then my kids started having activities, and I was like, I'm doing this so I could be a stay-at-home mom. So I stopped with the kids. And now, you know, where my life is now, I just have my my same steady group.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I want to take more. It's a monotonous job,
Yeah.
too. I love it. And I love the way people feel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they always, like, all my clients always say, like, at the end, they're like, I feel so much better than when I did walking in the door.
Yeah, of course.
So that's great.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I don't know, you know, being a personal trainer, while I think I'm good at it, because I don't think from the exercise part of it, and I think that's what people don't understand is when you're a personal trainer is it's not just the exercises that you give people, it's really just how you make people feel.
Yeah.
And I think that's my strength, as opposed to being someone who knows
I got you.
all, you know,
Body
all the
parts and what's-
physiology of that's
got
not
it.
my I realize over time, like that's not, I just want to make people feel good about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think we all have, I mean, I know for myself is I have my own issues not making myself feel good, but I can always make others feel good.
Right. Of
So,
course.
yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
I do it all online now. It's all via Zoom. It's all
course
my
you do.
same clients
Yeah.
from Livingston.
Really?
Yeah, but it's all via Zoom.
That's amazing.
Yeah. When we went in quarantine, I was still going to everybody's house, but then that happened, and it was like, now what?
Yeah.
You know, so we didn't know what FaceTime. I knew nothing about Zoom. You know, everybody was telling me to go Zoom. I'm like, fuck is Zoom? What is that? I should have bought stock in it. And
it's incredible.
I mean, once we started doing Zoom, it just became, I was still in Jersey, and it just became a thing of, we kind of like this better. After doing it a year of quarantine, there's really no reason for you to come to my house because I can kind of turn you on and turn you off.
Yes.
And it works.
Yeah.
And we stuck with it. And that's why I have the ability to live where I want to live, because I'm able to just do it all online. So.
Well, what's incredible is when quarantine happened, you know, and my kids were all in the school system, I was like, you know, I'm a personal trainer. I said to my kids, like, you're not exercising. You know, they at least get gym.
Yeah.
So what I did was I said to my kids, like, everyone was looking for some type of purpose during the pandemic, right? So I right away, it was like a Friday, they said no school. And that Monday I announced, like, in our Facebook group, or maybe on my Facebook, I don't remember. I said at 3:00 we're doing gym class, and I went live with my kids in the garage.
That's smart. And
people, like, all my friends, I mean, people who I don't even realize, they still tell me, they're like, we used to, like, love your workouts, and I would make them, because remember, a lot of people couldn't get weights.
Yeah.
They weren't set up with home gyms. So I would grab books, and I would grab water bottles, and I was like, if you don't have a 5-pound weight, grab a water bottle, grab a can of coffee.
Oh, that's smart.
You know?
So, you know, another thing that you're good at,
That's
you
good.
saying that, is modification. And that's one of the number one things that personal trainers need. Is
Oh,
modification. Like, someone comes in and you have a plan, and I say, oh, by the way, I threw my back out yesterday.
Totally.
You got to modify real quick.
I am actually, it's like, it's pivoting. Pivot. Yeah, it's pivoting. But, you know, it's the truth, right? I mean, if you have the ability to read somebody, their mood, the way they walk, all that. But this was, right? I mean, this was, like, on such a big, and I was doing it every day.
Yeah.
And then I stopped.
Are you doing this every day at 3:00?
I was doing, I think it was every day. Or
That's
maybe I
awesome.
said 3 days a week, because my kids were like, oh my God, because they were doing the workouts behind
They're like,
me.
we don't want to do it.
Yeah, we're getting burnt out.
Yeah, they were like, Mom, this is like, it was like they were sore. They were like dying, because, you know, they're like, the pressure's on.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, Pete was a gym teacher.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, majority of my life.
That's amazing.
Kindergarten. I had kindergarten through. I started kindergarten through 8th, and then when I switched over to my other school, I was K through 3, and then they realigned, and I was 1 through 4. So I always had little kids.
Oh my God.
It's a lot.
What's that thing they always have, that contraption in the gym? And it's I'm not gonna remember the name. It's like, it's a series. It's like, you know, it's like a series. They you know, not series. What do you?
In the high school gym?
You know, it's like part of the, like,
the president's
curriculum.
test?
Not the president. The president's test. Let's talk about the president's test.
I
Let's
know.
talk about the president's test for a second.
It's along those same lines as the president's test. It's
Okay.
called, I forget what it's called now.
So let's talk about the president's test for a second, right? So as a kid, we'd do the president's
I
test.
love the
right?
president's test.
I hated the president's test. I
You?
could never run. We'd do like run laps around the like soccer field. I'd always take a dive. I mean, if you're not used to running,
yeah.
I was like, and like the rope, I was never good at pulling. You were probably good at the rope. I was
I
the worst
killed
at
the
rope.
president's test.
No.
That was the best day of school ever.
That was like the
Pressure's
only thing
on.
I was like, I could not
Yeah, so
do
much pressure.
physically.
right.
I was like,
I just couldn't figure out why the fuck we were doing it. But
you got like a
those
patch. I
specific
think you got like a
exercises-
patch or a
Yeah,
certificate.
We got a certificate.
Yeah.
It was
I just
because
couldn't figure out
it
why
was
we were doing it.
mandated by the state to do that.
But why those exercises?
Because
Like,
those are core exercises. So like there was like,
and
like,
in the
we had
military
pull-ups.
too, right? It was the
so you
military.
had to like
Yeah.
you had to like
It was
gauge
sit-ups.
if
we had
children
sit-ups,
were
pull-ups, rope climbs, mile run.
Yeah.
yeah you had to
Yeah.
gauge if
And
the
I came
kids were
from
like
military
healthy.
school.
Oh, so you
when
were
I-
probably like, they were probably like, here comes Joyce. Yeah. Here comes the
But they
number
were like,
one
she-
girl.
They were
Yeah.
like, she's annoying because with the sit-ups, you would have to do it with a partner, and you were supposed to count theirs, and then they would count yours to
Yeah,
see how
yeah.
many you could get.
Yeah.
And they were always like, I don't remember what you got.
So that had went
Oh,
away
you were
for
like,
a bit.
I
came back
know,
into
I
it.
know that I crushed you
Yeah,
is what I know. Yeah.
You're talking
Yeah.
shit.
So what's going on now?
So when the pandemic happened, Matthew, my son, was working at the local pizza place, Calabria's.
Mhm.
And
Love Calabria.
yeah,
Yeah,
Calabria's.
it's great.
It's an institution. So Calabria's was really the first to, in my opinion, in our town to sort of pivot with family meals.
Oh, I remember them doing that.
Yeah, so they did family meals, and they would bring it out to your car, and you got like, it was like, I'm making up the number, but it's $39.99, and you would get a big tray of,
Yeah.
you know, a pasta,
That was really
a
smart of them.
salad, a pizza, a bottle of wine, a loaf of bread, and like dessert, you know, and cookies.
They
So they were
included
really
wine?
good, really understood. Yeah, I think it was
Wow.
I think they got a bottle of wine.
Wow.
But it was because they have a liquor license, so they probably could do it. But it was really smart at the time because, you know, people weren't working.
Right.
People were scared financially. No one knew what was going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So so Matthew was working there, but he wasn't working there.
Okay.
You know, like he was at home with me in the pandemic, but the owner would send to Matthew a flyer with their, you know, pricing of that day and say,
Yeah.
can you send this to your mom for her to post in the Livingston Facebook group, which is L Town Lowdown.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
let me ask you this. Do
Yeah.
you run that group? Is that why they said to you?
So
or
at the
just
time,
because-
I don't know if I was an admin, but
Okay.
I helped the girl
Get it started?
not get it started really, but I helped her with the name. She really
Okay.
ran it, but then she
Got
had
it.
asked me to be an admin also.
Okay.
Because it was, especially during the pandemic, that's when it really, really started growing
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
everyone was like, I need masks. How do you know if you have COVID? You know,
Yeah,
everyone
got
was
it.
trying.
People were
Yeah.
just asking for
so,
that.
so I,
So you took on that
so-
entrepreneurial role.
so I was posting it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, you know, I just would post it.
Yeah.
So the girl, Neely, who runs the site,
Mhm.
calls me one day and she said, can you be the food czar? I go, frig is a food czar.
Yeah.
She said, can you just create a post? She goes, you don't even have to, like, she was like, you can just make it automatic that every day, just so the restaurants can all be in one place
Mm.
within the Facebook group. So everyone knew where to find what the
That's
meals
actually
were.
brilliant.
Yeah. So I was like, sure. But I knew, like anybody else, you know, you want to make it that people saw it
Yeah.
and that people wanted to find it. And I didn't want to do it automatic because I also myself was looking for a purpose and
Mm.
how do I help in this situation?
Right.
So every day in the morning I would get up and I would think about something to write, and it would be whether it was funny, whether it was you know, having to deal with what was happening in the current news, or just inspirational. But every day I posted,
Wow.
and then I would end, please post menu specials below. So and it became like a thing. I'm going to flash. So that's what happened.
Okay.
Okay. So I did that every day. So, and then people would be like, food czar, you know, no one knew who I was.
Yeah.
I mean, my
Right.
friends knew who I was, but not the town,
Right.
you know, whatever. And then it just kept growing and growing and growing. So then I have a friend, Greg,
Okay.
who we were getting like a major snowstorm. It was probably like, you know, pandemic was March. This is like now the following February.
Okay.
I just had my my vaccine. And I like was not feeling like I always got like a reaction,
Yeah.
whatever. So he's like, we're getting a terrible snowstorm. He calls me. He's like, I have the best idea. He said, I'm going to be in my backyard reporting on the weather, and then I'm going to throw it to you, and you do it from your backyard. And I was like, well, then what do I do? He goes, then you throw it to somebody. I go, this is the dumbest idea I've ever heard. I'm not doing it. Like, I was so cranky. I was like, I'm not doing this. Lo and behold, he does it, and it goes into this Facebook group on L-Town, and everybody loves it. And I was like,
I'm in.
oh my
Wow.
God, I can't let him
Right.
like get away with this. I thought it was a terrible idea. So the next morning, you know me, I'm like, no way. He can't have the limelight. I'm going to have it.
That's right.
So the next morning I stood, you know, because now I'm the food czar. I stand on my driveway with a banana, and I'm talking into the banana
saw
as my
that.
microphone. And I was like, is this thing on? You know, so I'm like, I'm reporting live-ish, because we weren't really live, but I
Yeah.
said live-ish. And, you know, and I started saying, I was like, all the restaurants are delivering. I repeat, all the restaurants are delivering. And Michelle's car, my wife's car, was like, I had to, like, she was stuck in the snow at the end of the driveway. I'm like ignoring her. I'm like, the garbage men are coming. It was a disaster, but everybody loved it. So it became a thing. So like, the next day I did it with an orange. And I'm like, orange, you glad I'm back? You know, I mean, it's so hokey. And I didn't rehearse it. I
Right.
just did it. And it was funny, and everybody loved it. And that's sort of where everyone was like live-ish. They thought it was such a funny word.
Right.
So then a Mexican restaurant was opening in town. So all of a sudden everyone's like, food czar, what's happening next to the ShopRite? And I was like, let me find out. So I went and I brought an avocado.
I love
And
it.
I was like, I'm reporting live-ish from Viva Guacamole. I met Jose, Jesus, and I think it's Jose's sister. You know, I mean, I was like trying to give a rundown.
Yeah.
And I had no plan. And really, that's where everything sort of
Wow.
started taking off. So every
That's
restaurant
wild.
that was opening in town, I would go and do a video.
Oh, nice.
And,
were they calling you, or you would just show up?
people would text me. They would, or I would notice, you
Yeah.
know, oh, something's opening. So I'd find
Smart.
out, does anybody know who owns this? So I'd reach out to them. I say, I'm the food czar. And I really, you know, I don't critique
Right.
food. I barely eat it on camera. I tell
Right.
everybody I'm always on a program. You
Right.
know, I'm like, it's Monday, no
Yeah.
carbs. You know, so, but sometimes I'll take a bite. You know, depending. But it's really just a spotlight, and
Yeah.
it just was a community service is really what I felt.
Yeah.
And it's really this whole gig has given me the greatest joy ever. I
You
think
did
it
this
is.
all through quarantine?
So I did it. I started it. It would probably be like a year after the pandemic. Well, the food czar started during
Okay.
quarantine.
Got it.
The videos really came about a year after.
Okay.
And now it's like I do them. I could do, you know, it depends on my schedule
going
and
on,
what's
yeah.
going on. I go to other towns also.
Okay.
And
I
it's
was gonna
really just to let people know and for them to feel a little bit, there's so many food influencers out there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're all amazing
But
in
they're
their
not
own right.
czars.
They're not like me.
I
No.
mean-
But I think the difference is, number one is, and you know me and you've seen my videos,
Yeah.
I am 100% myself.
Yeah.
I
100%.
literally do not
Yeah.
rehearse anything. I keep it going. I don't know how, it's like a talent. It's like a hidden talent I
Yeah.
never knew I had.
It's actually not hidden. It's who you always were. Like, you're funny. You're always funny. Now
Thank
you're just
you.
throwing something else in there.
But I think also is that, I bring in the people that work at
Yeah.
the place. So then people really put a face to it,
Mm.
Yeah.
and they're like, oh my God, I forgot about this place. Oh my
And you're
God,
doing
he is the nicest.
walkthroughs too, right? Aren't you? You're going in the restaurants I've seen.
So yeah, I start outside,
Uh-huh.
and I mean, I'm going to give it away, but it's okay. So I hold my phone and I pretend that I
Behind the
have a producer. I pretend I'm like talking to a producer. I'm like, oh my God, did you hear about this thing last night?
You mean
Yeah,
there's
I
really
know.
nobody there?
There's really no. And people still like don't realize that it's just me talking to myself.
I knew that.
Which is Ovid. So I talk to myself outside. Of the place just so they can see the outside, and then I go in, and now I started asking the places to make food so I can show it.
Okay.
I wasn't doing that part. I was sort of like running through the menu, like
Right.
that's up on the screen. That's a little chaotic.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get a little bit better at showing the food or like what their favorites are, and maybe even putting it in the post too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I realize doing this how hard it is to be in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it's tough.
I think it is so important for every town to patronize their restaurants because it is the rock of your town.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you don't have good food, your businesses in general may not
You
thrive.
suffer, yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? And you want people to come to your town you want your restaurants to be good because
Yeah.
you want other towns to come in.
Yeah.
And like I said, these people put all their money, all their time, their families work there, or they're not even seeing their families. They are the hardest working people for me that I know.
Yeah, it's true.
And I respect
That's
them
very true.
tremendously. And you're only as good as your last good review.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, and so it's so important that I realize how important it is that I'm bringing, I'm hoping to bring people into their doors.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to show the community how nice these people are, how hard they work, how good their food is, and you don't want to miss it.
Yeah, it's so hard. I would say it's so hard with food because you have one person that goes, yeah, I went to that pizzeria and the food sucked. It could have just been a bad day for whoever made the food.
Yeah.
And then they say that, and it trickles down to everyone else saying, oh, so-and-so said the food sucks, so we're not going to go anymore.
Correct.
Oh, so-and-so just told me that the food was horrible there. But everyone else says it's good, right? So it's like, it could give you a bad rep.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So I posted, I just started, when I started doing these, I was posting it in L-Town. And that's why I'm called the L-Town. I always do, hello, L-Town.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how I start. This is Heidi Blum. Your L-Town foods are. So then I started putting it on my Instagram also. So now I'm just trying to.
That's where I saw it.
Yeah, so now I'm trying to build up because people like my camp friends were like, we love your I would post them every once in a while. They're like, it is like watching like a 5-minute like sitcom, you know? So, but in L-Town, when I put them in there, I think what's happened is I think the people in our town have learned to really respect the restaurant. So what happens is if someone comes on, it's like, I just had the worst experience. I'm going to use Calabria's, though no one has a bad experience there. But I just had the worst experience at Calabria's. And then all of a sudden, the whole town like jumps on them.
Yeah, good.
Like if you have a problem, speak to them.
Yes.
Right.
Don't air it out here.
Yes.
And so it's really nice to see
Yeah,
that
that's
in
cool.
a way,
They got
I
your
know
back. Yeah,
they're like protecting the restaurants.
Yeah.
And it's showing them. I don't know if it's because of what I do, but I'm hoping maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's just it's.
Well, I'm sure you assisted in riling up the town to do that.
So what do you do? Like once a week, twice a week? How does
It
that
all
work for you?
it all depends.
You
Like
don't have like a game plan. Like
I have
every week I'm going here.
This is the best thing about this job.
that's awesome.
I have zero game plan.
Good.
I'm going to give you an example. Okay, Dairy Queen was opening in Livingston.
Yeah.
I mean Dairy Queen. Come on, everyone loves Dairy Queen.
Is there a Dairy Queen in
Now
Livingston?
Now there
I
is.
didn't never
Yeah.
knew that.
Now there is.
I know.
It just opened a few weeks ago.
That's gonna be like
And
a blizzard.
And yeah, listen, you can get your blizzards. You can get. I mean, you get it. Look, I'm selling
She's
it.
gonna run down.
Yeah, I'm gonna run down everything. But so
Who can we talk to there?
it's I have his name, Benny.
Kidding.
He's the owner. Very nice. So, when they were opening, I kept trying to find out his name and whatever. He opened up next to a coffee place, so they gave him my number. He reaches out to me. So I say to him, we have a phone call, and I say, I'm a volunteer. I said, but I just want, like, when you're ready, let me know. I do a video. I let the community know that you're here. I said, I'm telling you, like, hold on to your seat, So, and we keep going back and forth. I mean, it's May. Everyone's like, when's Dairy Queen opening?
Right.
I'm like, soon. It's June. Soon. It's now July. And he texts me like one night. He told me they was gonna maybe do a soft opening. He was training the high school kids, and I helped him get workers there, the high school kids.
Nice.
So he reaches out to me, and he's like, it's like literally, I'm like sitting on my couch. I might have just had a glass of wine, and
Right.
he's like, text me. Can you just do a post that we're going to do a soft opening tonight? And I go, I'm coming over. And I went over, and there's people sitting outside waiting for the doors to be open. So I go in the door, and they're all like, no, they're not open yet. I go, trust me.
I'm the food star.
Hold on there, honey. You'll get your ice cream. Yeah. So I go inside. They're like, can you be our number one, like our first customer? And we want to frame your picture and put it.
Did you have your stuff?
No,
on?
I
You're
was like,
good?
I just had a baseball hat on, like I always have. So, but I did the live-ish. I had a small cone, soft serve with the hard shell.
I love it.
It was really pretty incredible, and it did not melt, which was incredible for the whole
July.
live-ish. So when I went outside to start the live-ish, the people all saying, they were like, "Oh my God, it's a celebrity!" I go. So this, I mean, it's all on the video. I go,
Oh my
yes,
God, I love it.
I'm the food czar. And then I did it. And then that night, I mean, people like, they're all commenting on my video. Is it open now? What time is it open till? And everyone jumped in their cars, and it was like wildfire.
Wow.
It was
That's
really,
awesome, man.
it was really
That's cool.
awesome.
Wow.
So I
that's
don't-
really nice.
Yeah. So it was like, that was
That's
just
random. That's super random.
spontaneous.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to do that all the time. I
Yeah.
mean, so I don't have a plan. I now do a podcast, Behind the Counter with the Food Czar. You can find me on Spotify.
Plug.
And plug. But that is, that's been a whole interesting thing too, because it does fit with my video production background.
Absolutely.
But I thought it was a good idea, because people do listen to podcasts. You have it. People when they're walking their dog, when they're taking their morning walk, when they're commuting to work, they do listen.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be fun to sort of have people really get to know the restaurant owners.
Yeah.
Ones that I feel like have a story.
Yeah.
And it's been really cool. Like the reception has been great, and it's, you really learn. I learn. I mean, I don't rehearse that either. I really just sit down and say,
best way to do it.
yeah, how did you get in this business? Is it a family business? Did you grow up to cooking? Did you, all of it.
Yeah.
And some of them come out really, I mean, they're great. They're interesting. I find them so interesting because, and I have a song too. Oh yeah, an opening song. Oh yeah. I'm like, come on. I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I need a song.
You did it yourself?
No, my friend's son does the music stuff, and he's in the music business, so it's him. I mean, my voice is terrible, but it's Behind the Counter with the Food Czar. Here's Heidi. It's great. It's awesome. I could play it for you on here. It's awesome.
That's great.
But it's cool,
So
so it's all it's all fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, I make it as it. I don't take it serious. I take it seriously because I want to make the restaurants look good, and I really, truly hope that I am doing them a service.
I think you are with the
doing it
podcast
genuinely.
because you're exactly, and you're people, not just the food, but now you're getting to know the owners.
Yeah.
Getting to know their story. Like I love the restaurants that we have in Mystic.
Yeah.
We know all the owners. We know
and they know
friends
you.
with them. Yeah.
They'll go, how are your children?
All the time. It's
when
great.
is Matthew coming home from college?
Right.
How was the wedding of your kid? They know everything about you. I thought it was important. We should know them too.
Exactly.
They're part of our community. So, I think overall the Food Czar thing has been, it's just been amazing. And and it is funny when people stop me and they're like, oh my God. I'm like, what? They're like, you're the Food Czar. And I'm like, yes, I'm the Food Czar. They're like, you're the same as you are in the videos. I go, yes.
The Food Czar.
It's me.
Right.
It's literally me.
Right.
But it's fun. I did a thing. Oh, I got in December, the town did a proclamation for Food Czar Day.
I saw that.
Which was awesome. So,
I mean,
I get a plaque.
When is Food Czar Day?
December 11th.
December 11th.
I think I'm wearing
Food Czar
on the
Day.
hat. Does it say?
Yep, December 11th.
L-Town Food Czar
Yes.
Day. Yeah, 12/11.
That's
12/11.
cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
So what I did for that, for that week, I made it a whole week celebration, and I made Food Czar candy bars, and I signed them. And then all the restaurants had different days that was sort of their days.
Like the golden ticket?
Yes.
No.
Yes. So the restaurants would do, I
That's
took
so
let's say 4 restaurants each day, and you can get 25% off all day in the restaurant, and maybe you'll win a Food Czar bar.
That's so cool.
So it was and I was and everyone would send me their pictures. I had all the restaurant owners, so I would post all the pictures. I was like, congrats to this people, look at all the winners. I mean, it was great
awesome.
how the town got into it,
Yeah.
and it just drove business into the restaurants.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Where are you going with it now?
It's such a good question. I'm not sure. I mean, it's funny because I talk to other influencers who are much bigger than me. I call myself a mini influencer, but so, and a lot of people are like, you should be getting paid for this. Maybe I should. I don't know. I feel like, what was the line you said earlier today? You said to me, something about good. I don't know. If I'm doing something good, it'll come back to me in the way it's meant to come back
I said
to me.
if you just give without expecting to receive something in return, it'll come back to you.
So I don't, that part to me has been, while it makes me think, it does not make me say, yes, I should be getting paid for it. It started off as a community service.
Yeah.
It feels so good.
Yeah.
And then I feel like if I do start monetizing off of it, then I do feel that it becomes a job.
Yeah.
And then it's pressure.
And it's pressure.
Then you can't be happy-go-lucky with it, right?
Right, because then people are going to have, well, I don't like, can you take out that line?
Yes.
Right.
Can you take out this line? So no, right?
And then it's going to kind of compromise you being you, because you're going to have to be like,
correct.
I can't say that.
And
Or,
that's always been
That's your niche.
Yeah. So I think, where do I go with it? I think I just keep doing it. And I think what I've learned is, I guess with every job that I've had, is the path will find me.
Opening up, yeah.
You know, the
Yeah.
path has found me.
I agree.
And where I am right now is, I love it. I want to keep it going.
Mhm.
And quite honestly, until people, yesterday I was at Livingston Bagel and I was talking, the owner was there and he has someone who helps with his like social media
Mhm.
and they had a big influencer there. So I came in to meet him. And so I'm telling the guy like what I do.
Mhm.
And they're sitting there listening. And I said, for example, I had, you know, there's that viral pickle sandwich.
Yeah.
So I said to all my demos, I go, who's making me this? No one's traveling Long Island for this.
Right.
We have our restaurants here.
Exactly.
Let's go viral here. So Livingston Bagel made the pickle sandwich for me. So I was saying to the guy, I said, oh, so I said, for example, they just made the pickle sandwich. I said, so I spoke into a pickle. And they're how you're laughing, the owner, and you're laughing. And the owner, because it's so silly. It's so silly. But the
so great.
owner, right. But so the owner and the social media person, they started laughing. So I said to the influencer, I go, see how they're laughing? He goes, yeah. I go, until that stops, I'm going to keep doing this.
Yeah.
Because if it makes people smile, it brings joy. It brings joy to them. It brings joy to me. And
Yeah.
it's really the most, like, it is the most natural job I've ever had.
Yeah.
So,
Where are you in your life now with happiness?
well, this believe it or not gives me tremendous happiness. My wife is as I call her, my Xanax.
Yeah.
She's amazing. She is a
Hi, Michelle.
she's a physician and she does God's work, quite
Yeah.
honestly. But she has really, our marriage is amazing, and she has how I said earlier, how I'm like calm. I think seeing what she deals with in a day,
Yeah.
and having such a amazing relationship with somebody and knowing it's forever,
Yeah.
really eternity, and that like I have my person, that is amazing. And I think it's amazing for my kids to see that.
Yeah.
And my kids, 3 amazing, beautiful kids who are all awesome in their own right and creating their own paths for themselves is great. 2 amazing dogs. And
What
and
kind
that's
of
it.
dogs?
2 Labradoodles. They
Okay.
look like they're from the same breeder, but they're not from the same litter. But you would
Oh,
think,
I met your dogs.
yeah, Stella and Toby.
Yeah.
They're the best.
Yeah.
I mean, they are underfoot all day long. I mean, they are they're. I mean, Michelle says Stella was like put on this planet to love me, and it's true. I mean, she stares at me all day and night. I mean, I like roll over in the middle of the night, and she's just sitting there staring at me, and I'm like, it's like so creepy. But
She's like, I love you.
really amazing. I mean, they have made me. Loving the 2 dogs has made me like the biggest animal person ever. I mean,
Really?
if you looked at my TikTok, I deep dive every day on. I'm like embarrassed to say this, but tough. Mini goats, mini horses, mini donkeys. I'm like in like a bird phase. You know, the birds that like dance and talk. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
I mean,
don't
it's
know, but
really,
very
animals
cool.
are
Yeah.
amazing.
I had a macaw once. His name was Stevie, and he people would come over, and they wouldn't believe that he would remember their names.
That's cool.
It's really
Like he would be like,
you don't think
he would
birds
be
like have
say your
that.
name, Pete.
That's
Pete,
cool.
and they'd be like, "You're doing that."
No,
That's fine.
they're so smart. I mean,
Yeah.
animals like. So I you know, maybe down the road I volunteer. I mean, I feel like I have such a every animal I've like all of a sudden it's
Yeah.
like I don't know if I'm getting older and like mushier or something, but
Yeah.
it is like, you know, I'm like, I'll say to Michelle, I'm like, I don't know, maybe we need to get a guinea pig. Do you see those things? They're so cute. You know, like the pet guinea pigs,
Yeah.
their hair's all
Yeah.
over.
I
I'm like,
know.
they really are. I feel
Well, I
like
must be getting older too, because we've been saying it too. I'm like, when we have a pit bull, we can't get chickens now, but we're like, should
Yeah.
we get chickens when Indy's gone?
pit bulls. Let me tell you something. I mean, Miss Peaches has really. That's to
Miss
me.
Peaches,
I know.
Stop.
Talk about like I mean pit bulls.
But
pit
Miss
bulls
Peaches
make-
is getting a little bit embarrassing. When he carried her up on stage, I'm like, Miss Peaches,
I know
for shame.
in her gown
shame,
with her
Miss
train.
Peaches.
I know.
But I can't.
It's-
We rescued ours too.
Yeah.
From a place called Philly Bully Team. Shout out to them. And she was homeless, and some idiot cut off her ears himself. So when
Ooh.
people see her, they're like, "What's the matter with her ears?" Because they're like, you know, all
See,
turned
I
up.
think pit bulls are
She's
the
the
most
sweetest.
misunderstood.
She's the sweet it's,
Dog
it's,
breed.
It's what we do to them.
I know, and that's what breaks my heart because
Yeah.
if you look at these pit bulls, they are beautiful creatures. They
Yeah.
smile. They lie on their
sleeps in bed
backs.
with
They're
us.
like, I know,
with
and
her
it's,
head like.
it's just so unfortunate that they get brought into the
Yeah.
world and get into the wrong hands,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
that's what creates their. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, their instincts are their instincts. All animals have instincts,
right, but I always say, back in the day, it was the German Shepherd everybody hated. Then it was the Rottweiler. Then it's the pit bull's turn. It's never going to be the human's turn.
Yeah.
So until the next dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. We spend time at the beach down here, which is amazing.
That's happy.
And I play a lot of golf.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Heidi, I'm loving this life for you.
Yeah.
It looks
I
good
play
on
a lot.
you.
Thank you. I feel good.
Good. Whenever we have a guest here,
Yeah.
at the end, we like to ask them.
Oh, I
what
love a
is
good ending question.
Yes,
Oh, I love it. I always
yes.
want to find one for mine,
Oh,
but
you
I
got
want to
it.
hear yours. I might steal it.
Okay.
Let's go.
It's okay.
Ours is just what would be a tip that you would give the next guest. Doesn't have to be entrepreneurial, just that you would give the next guest. Life tip.
I would say life tip, because this is something, a few things that I try to do for myself is be yourself. Let people see who you are. Be honest. Be truthful. And put your head down every night and say, I did as good of a job as a human being that I can do.
I like it.
Heidi Blum, the food czar.
Yeah. Joyce, we have to
Food
do
czar.
part 2 and how
Definitely,
I met you.
definitely.
Yeah.
I love you.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. This
Thank
is
you
awesome.
so much
Awesome.
for being
Thank you.
here.
Thank you.
And we want to let you know that we're
You
still
have to
on
say Heidi
Apple.
Blum, entrepreneur and thought leader.
I'm sorry, Heidi Blum,
Yeah.
entrepreneur and thought leader.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you. I love you too.
We want to let you know we're still on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. And if this resonates with you, join our community because the best is yet to come.